They always say when you take a punch, the pain doesn't hit right away. It's the adrenaline that kicks in first, fogs your head, speeds up your heartbeat, makes everything feel like a dream you're about to wake up from. I used to think that was just action movie talk. Until I found myself flat on my front lawn, jaw throbbing, stars dancing in my vision, and the woman I thought I knew, my wife of 4 years, stepping over me like I was yesterday's trash. But that wasn't even the worst part. What really gutted me was how radiant she looked. Like she'd finally shed some invisible skin, the role of the unhappy wife, and stepped fully into the version of herself she wanted the world to see. Confident, unapologetic, certain, and painfully clear. I wasn't part of that version. That role? It belonged to someone else. Someone named Darius, a name I hadn't even heard until the moment his knuckles met my face. Let me roll the tape back for a second. Not too far, just enough to show you where the cracks started. Me and Claire, yeah, that was her name, we weren't exactly the fairy tale couple. But we also weren't falling apart, not in any obvious way. No screaming fights. No shattered dishes. Just silence growing where laughter used to live. Her phone always flipped face down. Her smile stretched a little too thin. My gut asked questions I never had the nerve to say out loud. And like most guys, I figured we were just in a slump. Ride it out, let love sort itself out. Because that's what we do, right? We hang on. We wait. Last Saturday was her idea. Let's have both families over, she said, smiling that tight, distracted smile. Just once. Everyone together. I said okay. I fired up the grill. Cleaned the deck. Mowed the lawn twice. Tried to shake the feeling crawling up the back of my neck. For the first few hours, it actually felt normal. Forced small talk, dad jokes, my mom fussing over the potato salad. Claire floated around like the perfect host, solo cup in hand, bouncing between guests. But the whole time, she kept her distance from me. Never stood too close. Didn't hold my hand. Kept glancing at her phone like it had secrets. Every buzz brought a different smile to her face, not the tight one she gave Aunt Lorraine, but the soft, glowing one. The kind of smile she hadn't given me in months. I caught her once, standing by the kitchen window, tapping something into her phone. Everything okay? I asked, just trying to keep things light. She jumped, then laughed. Yeah, she said too quickly. It's just Jessica from work. She's trying to escape some awful date. She made up this fake Tinder guy, Lucas with a mustache. Total disaster. I laughed along, like a fool. Thought nothing of it. Thought I was part of the joke. Then 6:40 p.m. hit. That was the moment everything shifted. A black Dodge Charger rolled up the street, rumbling like thunder. Tinted windows. No one recognized it. My cousin leaned over and said, "Who's that?" Claire froze. Cup half raised, eyes locked on that car like it was the second coming. Out stepped this guy, mid-20s, built like he bench-pressed for breakfast. Chain around his neck, sneakers too clean. He walked like he owned the ground beneath him. And Claire? She lit up like he'd just brought the sun with him. That wasn't a look of confusion. That was recognition. Comfort. She moved toward him like gravity didn't give her a choice. My mom saw. Her dad saw. Everyone saw. And I was standing there with a platter of burgers like a goddamn sitcom extra. Claire, I asked, who is that? She didn't even look at me. Just wrapped her arms around him like they'd rehearsed it. Long, slow. Intimate. That's when he turned his head toward me and said, "You must be the husband." And then his fist introduced itself to my face. I hit the grass hard. White spots filled my vision. People started yelling. My dad rushed forward. My sister screamed. Someone tried to grab the guy, but he didn't even flinch. And Claire? She walked right past me, didn't even check if I was breathing. Just slid into the passenger seat of that Charger like she'd been doing it for years. They drove off. Just like that. She left me there, bruised, humiliated, and cracked wide open in front of my entire family. I sat on the porch steps for hours after. People kept coming up to me, saying things, offering help. I couldn't hear a word. The world had gone silent. Like the air itself was ashamed for me. And then the next day happened. When I woke up, my phone had 86 missed calls. All from her. And that's when this story went from betrayal to absolute chaos. I just sat there staring at my phone like it had grown fangs. It kept lighting up every few minutes, buzzing across the nightstand like it was mocking me. Claire flashing on the screen again and again, always around the same time, 2:13 a.m., 3:07, 3:29. The kind of hours you only call someone if your world is crumbling. And maybe hers was. But I didn't care. Not anymore. Eventually, I caved. It was around 7 a.m. the next morning. I poured a cup of black coffee that tasted like cardboard and sat down in the dark living room. My dog Max, curled up at my feet, the only warmth I trusted anymore. I took a breath and pressed play on the first voicemail. Her voice came through, cracked and desperate. "Eli, please. I messed up. I don't know what I was thinking. Please just call me. Please." I clenched my jaw. Max shifted but stayed close. Second voicemail. It wasn't what it looked like, I swear. I didn't know Darius would do that. I didn't know he'd, then static, a muffled sob, and I didn't mean to hurt you. Third one. Full-blown crying. The kind of cry that sounds like someone's gasping for air. "I need you, Eli. You don't understand. I didn't think he'd hit you. I swear I didn't know. I didn't mean for it to go down like that. Please, please don't hate me." I kept listening. Couldn't stop myself. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. You don't want to see it, but you can't look away. By voicemail number 5, the tone shifted. Suddenly, she wasn't crying anymore. "You're acting childish now. You just laid there while he hit you. You should have fought back. You embarrassed yourself, Eli." There it was. The mask slipping. That sharp edge in her voice? That wasn't new. That was the Claire I'd started to notice months ago, passive-aggressive, cold, condescending. But I brushed it off back then, thinking maybe she was just stressed, tired, going through something. Turns out what she was going through was Darius. The rest of her messages flipped between guilt trips and gaslighting. She blamed it on wine. Said I'd pushed her away emotionally. Then the real kicker, she claimed Darius was just a friend. That it wasn't like that. Right. Just a friend who cold-clocked me at a barbecue and drove off with my wife in front of both our families. Totally normal friend behavior. Around 10 a.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the peephole. There she was. Hoodie pulled up, makeup smudged, pacing on my porch like a stray cat that wanted back in. She stayed out there for a while, half an hour maybe, just sitting, shivering. Then finally she left. But not quietly. That's when the texts started. Long, rambling walls of apologies. Photos of us, our wedding day, that trip to Colorado, her on the couch holding Max like life was perfect. She captioned them like she was writing a Hallmark script. This was real. "Don't let this go." He meant nothing. And then I saw it. Buried between her pleas and guilt trips was a selfie. A recent one. Claire in lingerie I didn't recognize, standing in front of a mirror. Behind her? Darius. Shirtless. Hand wrapped around her neck, her face smug. She'd sent it by accident. Had to be. Probably scrolling through her gallery, trying to attach some old sweet photo, and her finger slipped. She never mentioned it in the messages. Pretended it wasn't there. But I saw it. I stared at it for a long time. Then I laughed. A hollow, bitter laugh. Not because it was funny, but because in that moment, everything clicked. She wasn't sorry. Not even close. She was just furious she lost control of the story. And that's when I made a decision. I didn't call her. Didn't text back. That night, I blocked her number. I wanted silence. Needed it. But peace doesn't come easy when someone like Claire still thinks she's got strings to pull. Because Monday? Monday came swinging. She showed up at my job. That Monday morning felt like waking up hungover from a party I never agreed to host. I hadn't slept much. Couldn't eat either. I just sat in my car in the office parking lot, staring through the windshield like maybe the building would disappear if I waited long enough. It didn't. So I dragged myself inside, head down, trying to act like everything wasn't still bleeding inside me. Most of my coworkers had no idea what had happened. And I planned to keep it that way. Around 2 hours into pretending to work, I got a ping on Teams from Lauren, the receptionist downstairs. All it said was, "Hey, there's a woman here asking to see you. She says it's urgent." My stomach dropped straight to the floor. I typed back, "What's her name?" A few seconds later, "Claire. She's crying." Of course she is. I didn't move. Didn't answer right away. But then my desk phone rang. It was Lauren again, whispering like we were in some twisted spy movie. "She won't leave, Eli. She's just sitting here." So I got up. Walked slow, cold, like I had chains dragging behind me. And there she was, sitting in the lobby like some lost little actress in a hoodie, hair messy, eyes puffy, a manila folder clutched like it held the secrets of the universe. The moment she saw me, she jumped up and rushed over. "Eli," she grabbed my arm. "Please. Just give me 5 minutes. Just listen." I didn't say a word. Just nodded toward the door. Outside in the parking lot, she launched into the performance she'd been rehearsing all weekend. She held up the folder like it was her golden ticket. "I got a restraining order against Darius," she said. "He hit me after the party. I didn't know who he really was." She went on, spinning this tangled web of lies and half-truths. Said he was high, said he threatened to kill me if she ever came back. Said she was scared, confused, didn't know where to turn. I just stood there. Silent. Let her talk. Then came the twist she'd clearly been saving, the big one. "I'm pregnant," she whispered. "I found out 2 days before the cookout. I didn't know how to tell you." I didn't even blink. "You told me last month your period was late from stress," I said flatly. "You said you took a test and it was negative." She flinched, just for a split second. That tiny blink when a lie crashes into reality. "I didn't want to scare you," she stammered. "I took another one. Just recently. It's real. I swear, Eli. It's yours." That was the moment I knew she had nothing left but desperation. I turned around and started to walk away. She grabbed my sleeve, voice cracking, getting louder now. "Don't walk away from me. Don't let him ruin what we have." What we had. What we had got dragged into a muscle car and driven off in front of my mom. That afternoon, I did 2 things. First, I got a full STD panel done. Second, I called a lawyer. And that night, she tried to break into my house through the side gate. My dog, Max, went ballistic. I was on the phone with the cops in seconds. She was gone before they showed up. But she left something behind. That manila folder? Found it half-stuffed behind my garbage bins. Inside were 3 printed screenshots. One of Darius, shirtless in my bed. Another of Claire texting someone named D saying, "He's still obsessed with me. I can play it until I'm ready." And the last one? A bank transaction, $900 sent to Darius. Memo line, "For the clinic. No questions." She wasn't pregnant. She was playing me. Again. And this time, I wanted blood. I stood in my backyard that night, holding that manila folder like it was radioactive. My dog Max kept sniffing around the gate, probably still picking up the scent of her desperation. Everything around me was dead quiet. No wind. No birds. Just me and the truth, and not the kind she was trying to sell me with her voice cracking and her crocodile tears. This wasn't an accident. Claire wasn't just reckless or caught in some whirlwind. She was calculated. Deliberate. A manipulator with good makeup and a better poker face. And me? I was done playing the good, clueless husband. The pregnancy was fake. The restraining order? Probably real, but not because she feared Darius. No, she needed to wear the mask of a victim right after getting caught sneaking around with him in our house. Yeah, I found that out too. Turns out the humiliation at the cookout was just the public finale. After I found those screenshots and the $900 clinic payment, it was like a switch flipped in my head. Not rage. Not sadness. Clarity. Everything snapped into focus. I saw the whole picture, and it was darker than I ever imagined. And I knew right then, I couldn't just let her walk away. Not without consequences. Not when she could twist this story into something that made me the villain. She'd already proven she could lie with a straight face. What if she tried to go after alimony? or claim emotional abuse. So I called up my buddy Jason. He works in IT, not the corporate kind, the kind where gray area is just another day. I told him I needed help. He didn't ask questions. Just told me to bring her phone. Lucky for me, I'd cloned her phone months ago using a recovery app. I hadn't touched it. Just had a gut feeling something was off back then when she kept changing her passcodes like it was a game. Well, now it was time to play. I sat in Jason's garage until 3 a.m., scrolling through her backup. And let me tell you, this wasn't just some fling. This was a full-blown, carefully plotted betrayal. It started with a DM. Darius had replied to one of her Instagram stories. Harmless at first. Flirty. She leaned in fast. Told him I was cold. Emotionally distant. Said she thought I might be cheating too. Classic projection. Then came the photos. The videos. The texts. She recorded herself doing things for him she never once did for me, not in 4 years of marriage. Sent them while I was at work. Mocked me in the captions. Told him I thought she was baking banana bread, when really she was in his car thinking about how his hands felt the night before. There was a message where he asked, "You ever think about leaving him?" She replied, "Maybe after the cookout. Kinda want to cause a little chaos first." Let that sink in. She planned it. The cookout. The punch. All of it. She invited Darius. Told him to make an entrance. Even bet him I wouldn't fight back. There was a message where she said, "He's soft. Bet you $50 he just takes it." And Darius? He replied, "LMAO, I'll make him cry in front of mommy." It wasn't just a random outburst. It was a script. The next morning, when she left those voicemails. Performance. She belongs in a movie, not a marriage. At 3:47 a.m., I played the last audio file. A voice memo she'd recorded but never sent. Probably deleted it, thinking it was too much. But it was still there. Her voice, smug and sweet. Eli's like a little puppy. He'll follow me straight into hell if I wag my tail hard enough. He's addicted to being the good guy. That's what makes him weak. And that was the moment I broke. I saved everything. The texts. The pictures. The videos. The voice memos. I dropped it all into a cloud folder and sent it to the people who needed to see it. Her parents, my parents, her job's HR department. And best of all, I sent it to Darius's probation officer. Yep. Turns out, Romeo had a record. And that little sucker punch might have just violated his terms. By 10 a.m. the next morning, my phone lit up like Christmas. Her mom called sobbing. Her dad left a voicemail that just said, "I don't know who raised her." Her job? Put her on administrative leave for personal misconduct. And Claire? She went silent. No calls. No texts. No more sob stories. Until 6 p.m., when she showed up at my door. This time, she didn't bother with tears or hoodies. Claire showed up at my front door like she still had a say in anything. No makeup. Pale. Hollow eyes. Arms crossed, voice flat. "So, you think you're some kind of hero now?" I looked her straight in the eye. "You called me weak. I'm just proving you wrong." She didn't blink. Didn't flinch. Just stared at me like she was trying to find the old version of me she used to control. But he was gone. Long gone. "You ruined my life," she whispered. "No," I said, "you did that yourself." I closed the door. And you'd think that would be it, right? You'd think after her lies blew up in court, after her little boyfriend got hauled back to jail, after her job tossed her out like expired milk, she'd finally get the message. She didn't. 2 days later, I was at work when some smirking kid in a tie walked up and handed me an envelope. Served. Claire had filed a temporary restraining order against me. According to her, I had become dangerous. Emotionally unstable. She claimed I'd been harassing her, threatening her, sending explicit messages. Said she feared for her safety, and of course the safety of her unborn child. Yeah, the same pregnancy she already exposed as fake in her own texts. But courts don't know that. She sprinkled in just enough truth to muddy the waters. Said I had access to her phone, which technically I did. Said I contacted her job, again true. and said I retaliated emotionally, which was her term for exposing the truth. And then came the part that made me want to put my fist through a wall. She requested temporary custody of Max. Said I'd been neglecting him. That he was emotionally bonded to her. Claimed I'd left him outside for hours in the cold. That dog? That dog's my shadow. He follows me everywhere. Sleeps at my feet. The idea that I'd neglect him? It was like accusing me of starving my own kid. So I got a real lawyer. Amanda. She was no nonsense, zero fluff, shark in a skirt energy. And she took one look at the paperwork Claire had filed and said, "She's not trying to protect herself. She's trying to erase your credibility. This is about setting up a story, for court, for friends, maybe even for alimony. We're not just going to defend you. We're going to bury her lies." We got to work. Amanda helped me gather everything, the voicemails, the texts, the fake pregnancy files, the clinic payment, the screenshots of Claire and Darius plotting the party ambush. Every nasty little receipt. We even had the message where Claire said word for word, "If I file something, the court will believe me. I just have to say he got aggressive." The court date for the restraining order hearing was set for the following week. In the meantime, Claire kept up appearances like nothing happened. Instagram stories at coffee shops. Inspirational quotes. A photo of her holding a random book called Healing After Trauma. And then, cherry on top, she posted a sonogram. Fake. Pulled straight from Google. Amanda reverse image searched it in 2 minutes. The caption? "Even in pain, we bloom. I'll keep this little one safe no matter what." Comments flooded in. "You're so strong. You've got this, mama. He doesn't deserve you." Meanwhile, I couldn't sleep. I was checking the locks 3 times a night, just waiting for her to pop up again with another stunt. But I was ready. Court day came. I walked into that room with Amanda beside me and a folder thicker than a phone book. Claire was already there, playing her role. Baggy sweater. Minimal makeup. Hair down like she'd cried herself there. And yeah, she brought the bump. She had stuffed her hoodie with something, a pillow maybe, subtle but there. Aimed right at the judge's sympathy. Her lawyer? Some smooth-talking guy who probably made his living representing misunderstood women in messy breakups. They went first. Claire's lawyer leaned into the drama. Called me a scorned ex. Said I was lashing out. Claimed I was spiraling since she moved on. He submitted cherry-picked screenshots, one where I asked her, "Why are you lying?" Another where I texted, "Everyone's going to see the real you." And then, of course, a single line I'd sent in a moment of rage, "You don't know what you started." They tried to sell it like a threat. Claire put on the trembling voice. "I'm scared," she said. "I just want peace. I just want to feel safe." And then she rested her hand on that fake bump. Amanda didn't interrupt once. She just waited, coiled and calm. Then she stood. "Your Honor," she said, "this isn't about fear. This is about control. Claire isn't protecting herself. She's weaponizing lies." And then she started unloading. The judge listened to 5 of the voicemails. Watched Claire flip from crying to rage to guilt to anger like she was spinning a broken radio dial. Then the texts. The one where she said I'd follow her into hell like a little puppy. The one where she plotted the cookout ambush with Darius. The $900 clinic payment with a memo, "No questions." Amanda presented the reverse image search, that sonogram Claire posted, taken from a 2017 medical blog. The judge actually blinked at that one. Raised his eyebrows. Then Amanda hit play on the final voice memo. Claire's voice came through the courtroom like poison. "Eli's such a little puppy. He'll follow me into hell if I wag my tail. He's addicted to being the good guy. That's what makes him weak." Silence. The judge set his pen down. Claire looked like she'd just swallowed a mouthful of broken glass. Her lawyer asked for a recess. Denied. Amanda closed with this. "Claire isn't afraid of my client. She's afraid of being held accountable." The ruling? Request for restraining order, denied. Called it frivolous and potentially criminally misleading. Judge warned her, any more false claims and she'd be sanctioned. Oh, and Max? Full custody to me. No visitation. No discussion. Claire sat there, hands trembling, watching everything unravel right in front of her. Not just me this time. A whole courtroom saw her mask slip. She didn't say a word as I walked out. But that night, she spoke loud and clear. An unknown number sent me one line, "Hope it was worth it. You'll regret this." 3 hours later, I walked out to my driveway. All 4 tires on my car slashed. It was just after 1 a.m. when I stood in my driveway, staring at 4 shredded tires like they were victims of a crime scene. My car sat there slumped, like a wounded animal. The front tires were completely destroyed. The back ones? Slashed clean, like a surgeon had done it. This wasn't random vandalism. It was a message. And I didn't need a return address to know who sent it. Claire never left fingerprints, not the literal kind. Her weapon of choice was psychological warfare. But after getting annihilated in court, after the judge shredded her lies and took away every inch of control she thought she had, something inside her cracked. So now she was getting physical. I didn't call the cops right away. First, I went to my security system. I had 4 cameras mounted around the house, one of them pointing straight at the driveway. I rewound the feed to just before midnight. There she was. Black hoodie. Slender figure. Hair tied back. Her face turned just far enough to dodge the lens, but I knew that walk. I'd lived with that walk. It was Claire. And she wasn't alone. Behind her was someone bulkier, taller, with a hoodie pulled tight around his face. He handed her something. A knife. He gestured toward the car. She crouched down, did the job herself. And then she laughed. No sound, but I saw her head tilt back, hand over her mouth, that smug little laugh she always gave when she thought she was winning. Then she looked straight into the camera and flipped it off. That second figure? Darius. Yeah. The same guy she threw under the bus in court. The same guy she said assaulted her, who she said she feared for her life. He was right there, standing behind her like nothing ever happened. So I finally called the cops. But this time, I wasn't calling like some poor guy scared in his own home. No, I called like someone who had proof. Cold, hard, time-stamped footage. I told the responding officer flat out, "This isn't about a bad breakup. This is planned. This is escalation." They took it seriously. Opened a case. Filed a report. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I was scared, because I was done being scared. You want war, Claire? Fine. I can play that game. At 6 a.m., I called Amanda. I told her everything. She didn't flinch. "Time to flip this," she said. "We file a restraining order against her." We rushed it through. I submitted the footage, the history of her harassment, the late-night porch visit, the false pregnancy stunt, the fake bump in court, the damage to my property, all of it. And then Amanda said something that made me sit up straight. "We're also filing a civil suit. Emotional distress. Property damage. Malicious intent. And we're naming Darius too. Joint claim." Because Claire thought she could torch my life and walk away untouched. Not anymore. I was going to hit her where it hurt, her wallet, her record, her image. But I wasn't done. I sent the footage to her HR anonymously. She'd already been on thin ice with them after the cookout fallout. And now? Boom. Terminated. No meeting. No warning. Just an email with a termination letter attached. And karma? Karma had a field day. 2 days later, I got a knock at the door. It was the cops. They found Darius with an unregistered weapon in his car. The same Charger from the cookout. Probation violation. Arrested on the spot. Claire posted some passive-aggressive nonsense on Instagram the next morning. Some people only punish what they can't control. I'm still standing. Nah. You're not standing, Claire. You're spiraling. And then came the final push. She tried to fight back through her best friend, Chloe. Yeah, Chloe. The same one who smiled at me over dinners and sent "Claire you up" texts like a wannabe soap opera character. Chloe went scorched earth on Facebook. Wrote this long rage-fueled post titled "When Manipulators Wear Wedding Rings, A Friend's Warning." 27 paragraphs. I counted. She accused me of everything Claire failed to prove in court. Emotional abuse. Isolation. Said I hacked Claire's phone. Said I planted evidence. Even accused me of using our dog Max as a tool of control. And people believed her. Because they didn't know the truth. They just knew the couple, Eli and Claire. They saw her crying selfies and sad quotes and thought I was the monster. But Chloe didn't know something important. She wasn't just Claire's mouthpiece, she was her alibi. She had submitted a sworn statement saying Claire was with her the entire night my tires were slashed. That they were watching movies. Eating Chinese. Crying over how scared Claire was of me. Problem was, I had video proof that Claire was 4 blocks from my house. I also had a photo from her private Finsta account, taken from Darius's car that same night, with location data. Amanda and I handed it all over to the DA. Perjury. Obstruction. And suddenly, Chloe's big Facebook post smelled like a legal nightmare. 1 week later, everything Chloe posted vanished. Every story. Every tweet. Every comment. Digital ghost. Then Amanda got word. The DA was looking into formal charges. And Claire? She didn't stop. A few nights later, she showed up at my parents' house. Told my mom she wanted to talk about Eli's soul. My mom called me mid-conversation, voice shaking. She's here, she said. She doesn't seem right. I told her to lock the door and call the police. Claire left before they arrived. But that told me everything. She wasn't trying to get back together. She wasn't trying to apologize. She was trying to twist the story. She'd lost control of the truth. So now she was coming for the perception. Make me look unhinged. Make me look unstable. Make people doubt me, even my own family. But I was done playing defense. Amanda and I spent 2 solid weeks assembling our final move, a defamation suit, bundled with emotional distress, malicious prosecution, false testimony, and punitive damages. We sent everything to her lawyer first, gave them a week to pull the plug. They didn't respond. So we filed. And when court day came, oh, it wasn't just tense, it was electric. The judge didn't even let Claire's side finish. He called her actions a disturbing pattern of manipulation, deception, and psychological abuse. Ruling? A Claire ordered to pay $62,000 in damages. A public apology required. A restraining order granted in my favor. A Chloe's perjury charges under review. A false pregnancy claim referred to law enforcement for possible fraud. When the hearing ended, Claire didn't move. Just sat there like a statue. I walked out of that courtroom, finally breathing real air for the first time in months. But let me be clear, this wasn't some victory speech. This wasn't revenge. This was survival. She tried to break me. But I didn't shatter. And if you're reading this, if someone's dragging you through this kind of betrayal, I need you to hear me. You're not weak. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're just dealing with a wolf wearing your partner's skin. So trust your gut. Gather your receipts. And when the time comes, swing hard. I made it. And so will you.